and we just played baseball all summer, and we focused a lot on the developmental side of baseball. And that's what it was about. I think we had 33 kids this summer. I think last year we had right around 28 to 30 that played. We split up into two teams every weekend. We had a gold and a maroon team, and we let them play all summer long. They played good baseball. I mean, they didn't win a lot of games because they're playing a lot of teams that were established a lot of times that played together all the time. We had a lot of higher, a lot of 8-year-olds where we played with the 7 and 8-year-olds, but their development throughout from June, when they started, until the mid-July or mid-August, and they were done. It's unbelievable. Hitting cutoff men, third baseman, fielding a ground ball to the runner at first and throwing the second base, getting the lead runner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Clearing the Bases, the podcast where we step up to the plate and dive deep into the world of youth baseball. I'm your host, Jimmy Filangieri. On this show, we discuss all things related to the preparation and development of youth baseball players, coaches, and yes, even parents. So sit back, settle in, and get ready to hear from some of the greatest baseball minds out there.
I would never imagine that at all. It would turn into something like that. Like I said, I don't want to make it travel baseball. I want to make it developmental summer baseball. Like, we want to develop, I think, and the more you develop, the more you keep doing, they're going to win because they're developing the right skills. And that's what we want to do. That's how they win the right way. Yeah. We don't want to just keep bringing everybody in to win. We don't want to bring in transfer portal 8-year-old kids, right? There's all those kids that, hey, the pickup portal this weekend. Let's see if we can. No, we don't want to do that. We want to bring in the right kids that want to play and learn and grow together and develop together. And we're doing that.
To be able to reach the highest levels of this game, you got to work hard. You got to get in the cages. You got to do your strength and conditioning. You got to throw your bullpens. There's all of this physical stuff that you need to do, and you need to work hard at it. But don't forget that you also have to get better at the mental side of the game. And one of the ways you can do that is increase baseball IQ by downloading and using the 6-Tool app.
For baseball coaches like you, every game brings measurable progress. However, game time isn't the time for trial and error learning. Instead, have a proactive approach. Use 6-Tool, the best baseball player development tool on the market. We provide a platform to level up your coaching strategy by helping you to quickly identify and address your players' knowledge of the game. By using our easy-to-implement interactive player quizzes, you can assess position-specific issues, overall baseball IQ, and much more. Win more games and develop better overall baseball players with effective off-the-field training. Visit us at 6-tool.com. 6-Tool. Get ahead in the game.
Okay, everybody, today's guest is a coach who brings passion, energy, and a wealth of experience to the diamond. Ron Boo Boo Schaeffer has dedicated his career to helping young athletes grow both on and off the field. Ron graduated from Penn State, and he graduated from Reading Central Catholic High School in Pennsylvania. He's worn many, many hats in the baseball world, from serving as the head coach at Penn State York to now shaping the program as an assistant coach at Alvernia University. Known for his upbeat personality and relentless commitment to player development, he has become a respected voice in the coaching community. I was lucky enough to meet Ron at the Youth Baseball Summit a few years ago. We've become very friendly, and, this is a great chance to talk some baseball with Ron and share with everybody out there. How are we doing tonight, Ron?
Good. How are you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to have you on. Glad to see you again.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming with this conversation. We've been talking about this for 3 years now.
I know.
Finally get a chance to do this.
I know. It's crazy how, what it is too, is you talk about this stuff and you say, yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. And then time just flies and,
yep.
It just keeps going and going. But I'm glad we finally got it done. So, all right. So let's start at the beginning. Share your baseball journey. And, well, first of all, wait a minute, because I know you told me this once before, but I forgot. Okay. Boo Boo. Where did that come from?
Well, so my grandfather was a Ronald. My dad was a Ronald. I'm a Ronald, and then so when growing up, my dad was called Boo. When I was born, I got Boo Boo, and it just stuck with me. So that's the story all about it. And a lot of people that I know, growing up, still call me Boo Boo. It's still part of my name. Some of the newer people that know me call me Ron. Some call me Boo Boo because of my Twitter name. But that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I know I'm like 50-50. Sometimes I call you Ron. Sometimes I say, hey, boo boo, what's going on? So
Hey, it's all right. It happens.
how about your players at Alvernia? Do they
I
know that?
Yeah, they know. I mean, they all of them call me Coach Boo Boo. So Coach Boo Boo, Coach Ron, Coach Schaeffer, I get it all. I think it depends on the comfort of some of the players who call me Boo Boo. So it's all good.
That,
So
that's cool. So take us back, through your baseball career, your high school career, and everything from there on.
yeah, so I mean, I started playing baseball at a young age. I was very fortunate enough to play little league, grew up with my dad, and then got through middle school, got through high school, played on a Berkshire Red Sox, which is a good showcase team back in the day, and got recruited to play college baseball, and ended up playing college baseball. After college baseball done, I started coaching at the college level pretty much as soon as I was done at Penn State Berks. So coached there for a couple years. Coached that year, Sinus College for a year, and then a couple years later, I ended up being a head coach at Penn State York for a few years, and then found myself back at Alvernia University, which is actually pretty local to me. It's actually my backyard growing up. I'm from Reading, born and raised, haven't left here. It's been here a long time. Very fortunate enough to know the head coach there, and we just kind of finally got a chance to connect and talk about baseball, and we just kind of worked it out together. And he asked me if I was ready to come back in the college game. It worked out, and here I am. So he's a great mentor towards me. My dad's a great mentor growing up. Still get to see him talking baseball all the time. So it was good.
Well, I was just going to bring that up because yes, I know your dad was he was a high school baseball coach, or was he a college
Yep.
coach?
He's a high school baseball
High
coach.
school
I think he,
baseball.
he said he finally retired last season, but we'll see. He always says it every year, but I did coach high school baseball for a few years in between going back to college baseball. Little known story is my dad and I coached against each other as head coaches, and they did a couple of articles about the game. They think it might have been the first father versus son head coaching in Pennsylvania.
Oh wow, that's
They've had like brothers and things like that, but they think it might have been one of the first father versus son as head coaches in the state of Pennsylvania, which is a pretty cool little thing to have. Our local newspaper did a really nice article about it for us, so it was pretty cool. So that's a very emotional game that day for sure. You never want to beat your dad, but you kind of want to beat your dad at the same time. So, but being able to do that was pretty awesome.
yeah. I
Being
mean,
in
I'm
that situation.
I'm sure your dad had to be like proud beyond
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was, I mean, my wife was there, my mom was there. It's a pretty kind of big family affair. So it was kind of cool to have everybody together. A lot of people in the community came there to that game. It was pretty cool. Something I'll never forget.
Yeah, I'm
Something I'll
sure.
never forget.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if I was ever in a situation where I was coaching against my son, first thing I would tell him is, if you beat me, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. And second thing, I would be the proudest dad on the face of the earth to, be able to do that. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit, because I really want to get into what you do with the youth players, okay? But we're going to get into that
Yeah.
in a minute. Talk to me about, Alvernia, like the program, the culture. What's it like there?
Oh, I mean, this program is, for years have been a very, very solid and always a regional conference contender every year. I mean, I've always followed the program. I never was fortunate enough to play there, but I've always followed it. I mean, we are in the hunt every year for a conference title, getting into regionals every NCAA Division III regionals every year. The culture of this program, this is like a family atmosphere here. I mean, that's every practice family, how we break practice off. These guys are great guys. I mean, they're all committed to each other. They're always hanging out together. It could be anywhere you run into somebody. There's usually not just one. There's usually 4 or 5 guys together. So that's how they always are. it's a great place. The university is very, very fortunate to have a lot of facilities. We have a building called the Plex. It's one of the largest indoor facilities in the Mid-Atlantic region for Division III. We try to give our players a Division I feel at a Division III level, so it's a great place to be.
So you said you have this complex. What type of facilities do you have in that complex for players?
We have 3 drop-down cages in there. It's like 4 basketball courts long and it's kind of like a carpeted track on the outside. So you take a full infield in there, guys can be long tossing in there. I mean, cold, rainy days, go in there, they can like a long toss. It's long enough to do a full long toss program in there. Downstairs then is a weight room for the guys, and we have our locker room in there also.
So that's pretty cool.
Everything we need is right there. They walk out the back door, and then there's our baseball field too. So everything is right there for us. It's awesome.
That's fantastic. So you're saying that it's the size of 4 basketball courts. So we work out in the wintertime at a local community college, and we use their facilities, which is a gym, and there's 4 drop-down cages, almost everything you described, but it's only 1 basketball court. And I'm overjoyed to have that, to be able to work, with the players when the weather's not good. I couldn't imagine having 4 basketball courts. I would be in heaven.
Yeah, we with the 3 drop-down cages, I mean, we have a hack attack in one, we have a coach throwing in another, we have, front toss another. While pitchers are throwing their bullpens in there, guys infielders might be doing ground balls or outfielders doing outfield work, and then they switch up in their hitting groups. Outfielders hitting first, infield doing their work. So it's great to have. I mean, there's so much space. You don't step on each other's toes. You're not worried about things. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic because, again, here in the Northeast, that's one of the biggest problems, right? It's cold. You're inside more than people who are not from the Northeast wouldn't understand, but you're in there a lot. So, the better your facilities are, obviously the better your players are going to be because you could get more work done.
Correct. They get a lot. I mean, they're always in there hitting. They're hitting. Or you walk in there over the summertime, whatever, you always see guys hitting or throwing, or it's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, let's like when a freshman, let's say, steps into your program, what separates the freshmen that succeed versus the ones that don't?
I think they just have to come in ready. I mean, the guys who are, they would be baseball ready. I think it's always tough. I mean, I think freshmen are a big key to a program's success. In my opinion, I think you got freshmen that can push the sophomore, juniors, and seniors and come in ready to go. And I think that's what they do. They'd be ready to come in, compete. And that's what we want them to do. They want them to come in and steal somebody's job, right? That's the goal of having freshmen, and that's kind of what we want to do. Come in, we want to recruit and have guys come in and steal other people's jobs and things like that, and push other guys to get themselves better.
Yeah.
If they know that coming in,
I love what you said about it's their job to take someone else's job, because I love the phrase where it's a coach's job to replace you, but it's your job to make sure he can't. I love it. And that's pretty much what you just said. So, all right, so let's jump into now, because again, like I said, I know you do a lot of work with younger guys. Talk to me a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so I always had ideas floating around within my head about doing certain things and with youth baseball. And a couple years ago, I met some people from the ABCA, started some conversations, and then I got invited to the youth summit a few years ago after working one of the camps that were held at Philadelphia Phillies. So I was very fortunate to get invited to do that. And then on the youth summit the next year, went to the meetings, and now I'm on the youth committee with you. And listening to guys talk and listening to guys think, what they're doing. And it's like, this is the same thing that I have a passion to do. So one of the things that I did when, at Alvernia, I was able to start running camps and clinics and things like that. And it's been, to me, that's awesome, is getting the youth out there, and the coolest thing about it is these youth kids get to come over and see, Alvernia University when they come do our camps and clinics. And, it's people don't know what's over there, right? People are like, oh, this I didn't know this was here. If they hear about it, they see it, but they never come, right? Come to campus and see what's going on. And you know, I'm just, what would I want my kid to do at a camp, right? I have an 8-year-old, soon to be 9. I have a 6-year-old. I have a 16-month-old. So what if I want to go to a camp? What do I want my kid to do to stay busy? Um, and I never really worked a lot of youth camps in the past, but I always had passion for that younger age group and building and growing. And I started doing these skill camps. We did a winter youth skill camp the first year. I was like, wow, we sold out, crazy. I did one over the summer. Wow, we sold out. Great. And then next winter we sold out again. And then this summer we almost we sold out because I added more spots but I sold out and I added more spots. People wanted to come. I was like, this is awesome. And it's a lot of movement. It's a lot of keeping busy the entire time. I don't want any downtime. It's movement, 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 and kids enjoy it. And you see the same kids coming back, and then all of a sudden they're bringing some of their friends along. Then last year in the fall, I did something a little different. That I'm like, what is something? And I've been watching youth baseball. Like, what is something that is needed in youth baseball? Like a catcher. Catchers are always hard to come by, right? So last year we did I did something called a beginners youth catchers camp. We did a 5 weeks, Sunday evenings. I think we had 16 catchers sign up for it, which is awesome. And we just went over the basics for the beginner catcher. We didn't do anything that was too advanced. We talked a little bit about it, but we never did it. Stance, positioning, being vocal, moving off your position, catching the ball properly, just the little things like that. And one of the coolest things about doing that is this summer I've seen about 7 or 8 of those kids catch. And I'm like, yeah, they're looking pretty good. And then they want to be catchers, and then we're seeing them play, and I'm like, this is pretty neat to see what they took from that camp and do it.
Now, how old are they?
A lot of them were 8, 9 years old.
Oh wow! Okay,
so we did a 7. It was pretty much like 7 to 12 was the beginner catchers camp. So we taught it. We went through the basics, blocking, everything basic to build up a catcher, to get them some stuff to do. At the end of the camp, we gave them the entire list of everything we did to take home. I laminated it for them. Said, here you go. Work on it on your own too. And I see a couple of those kids still have that thing in their bag. So it's pretty cool to see that. And like I said, I've seen a lot of kids get a lot better just from the camp and started working on things and stuff like that. So, which is going to be a cool thing for this year. A lot of those kids, they did play machine pitch, so they got a lot of catching that was strikes, but they did a lot of good things. But now a lot of those kids are finally moving up in the kids pitch area, so we're going to really see what they took out of it. So it's exciting to see that. And you going to do another one this year? I'm like working on it, like relax, we got a lot of things going on, but yeah, so people want to come back and do it again. Yeah. So it's awesome.
I got to tell you, you remind me, because I've been watching the Little League World Series, and I'm watching like every single game that I could watch, and especially the catchers. I'm paying attention to the catchers. Now, these kids are very talented, and believe me, they're great at picking the ball when a pitcher throws the ball in the dirt. They're fantastic at it, okay? But none of them drop to their knees to block a ball.
No, none of them block. I noticed that too. A lot of them are like stabbers. It's crazy, but I mean, I think it's just they're so used to just being able to one-hop it to themselves and block. But yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to make by that is that somebody like you that's doing this catcher's clinic, and you're bringing in these kids and you're teaching them how to block, how to do all of this stuff at a very young age is very, very important, because you and I know that, yes, these kids that I'm watching are 12 years old. That's not going to carry them through if they're picking the ball constantly, okay?
Yep.
As they grow, they have to learn how to block. And the kids that you're working with are already ahead of the game, because it's going to be hard to break that pick habit from those kids as they get older. It's going to take years to break that habit.
I mean, yeah, those habits start and they're hard to break. But yeah, I mean, I think having a strong catcher probably in the Little League World Series is the teams that are probably going to win it all.
Yes.
Having somebody behind the plate that can do that. So,
yeah,
pitching's important, hitting's important, but I think, those pass balls, they're gonna give the offensive team the edge on ground ball to second base. Now scores a run if he goes less than 2 outs at third base. Little things like that, or a sac fly. So, but yeah, I think it's important.
Yeah, well, I mean, to your point, the team that's in the championship, the from Fairfield, Connecticut, which is, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes away from me. It's right here.
Yeah.
That team is already in the championship, and their catcher is fantastic.
Hmm.
So to your
He's good.
point, to your point. So
The
talk.
Aruba catcher is really good too.
What's that?
The Aruba catcher is really good too. He was blocking a bunch of balls. I think one game. I was like, well, look at this guy. He was really really good.
Actually, that game, I think the Aruba in Venezuela is on now, or it was on. It might be over
Yep.
by now. But I
1-3, yeah, 3-1, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, don't tell me. I recorded. I
Oh,
wanted to go watch it, but whatever. It's no big deal. Um,
I didn't tell you who won. I said the final score was 3-1. We'll put it that way.
good point. Good point. So, so talk to me a little bit. Other than the catchers clinic that you did, the other camps that you do. First of all, you said that you sold them out, and then you increased the numbers, and then it sold out again. Okay.
Yep.
What number? How many kids do you get at these camps?
So I try to base it off what kind of how many workers I get to come help me out, because I need to have enough workers to do everything. But I mean, the winter ones indoor, we had over 100. I think we had 100 some kids at both of them.
Whoa.
And outdoors, I usually capped around 80 because it's outdoors, you got a lot more space to worry about. Indoors, you can kind of condense them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I end up getting, I think, 89 then this summer, and last summer it was right around 80. So it's a good number to have. With our baseball field and softball field being right next to each other, we were able to split up in the groups and use those locations. So it was awesome.
And walk us through a little bit, they do. I'm sure you work on catch play. I'm sure, you
Mm-hmm.
do like all of the drills that we all know, but walk us through so the listeners can hear, what you do.
So I mean, we pretty much I call it a skills camp. It's a youth skills camp, and that's what we work on skills. Fielding the ball properly, moving your feet, throwing a ball. We work on the outfield stuff because a lot of outfield stuff doesn't get played a lot because there's not a lot of balls hit the outfield. It seems like so we run quarterback drills with the kids. Kids love it. It works on the proper things. We make sure that their hips are moving the right way, they're taking the right steps. Same with throwing the ball across the field, moving their feet the proper way. We really focus on that kind of stuff. That's the two biggest things we work on. When it comes to like the catchers and pitchers type thing, it's always tough to do in skills, but we really focus on trying to like just kind of walk through generalized mechanics for kids that want to be a pitcher and kids that want to catch. So we kind of say who wants to catch, who wants to pitch. We take them away from their group for like the day 2 of the camp and kind of work on mechanic stuff. And then the beginners catcher camp stuff we did, we kind of go over that, in a quick rundown, usually just the stance and positioning and catching and blocking portion, just real like a quick rundown of that. Then with hitting, we really focused on how to hit off a tee properly to kind of take it with them because tee work's important, right? So usually their hitting day 1 is off a tee, working on tee work. And then we have on the day 2, we have a guy usually throwing under, short toss and then a group hitting off a tee at the same time and rotating them through just to kind of get some swings in. And we're working with kids while we're there. We're not just letting them do whatever they want. We really kind of focus on things. And then usually day 2, we end up, with a nice game of wiffle ball usually by the age groups and let them play wiffle ball, let them be kids. Indoors, sometimes we do kickball instead of wiffle ball because they want to play kickball instead. Then I do a bunch of door prizes and things like that at the end of camp. Obviously, kids love those kind of things. So we do a ton of door prizes. I try to do, I put all their names in like the wheel online, put all their names in there, spin the wheel, whatever pops up. We have stickers, T-shirts, hats, and those cinch bags, a bunch of stuff like that, and we give a ton of prizes, which kids love.
That's fantastic. So you're taking them through the whole gamut. I love it because, again, that's what our youth need. They need that type of, number one, forget about the skill development, but like what you were saying about, playing a wiffle ball game or a kickball game or something like that. I feel a lot of what happens, and I see this at the high school level, the kids are paralyzed by, they're paralyzed by being overcoached. Okay, so in other words, they never get that chance to play that wiffle ball game, play that kickball game where nobody's telling them what to do, and they're just doing their thing. Because again, like I said, most it seems to me like a lot of younger players are always like looking at mom and dad or looking at the coach. Did I do that right? Is that okay? Are you going to yell at me? Should I have been there? You know what I mean? Just do it. And then we can talk about it later.
Yeah, I mean, the yelling and screaming stuff. I think a lot of that comes down to that's the safety stuff we're probably getting loud about with the kids. We just want to act like the bullying and things like that happens, which it does. Kids are being kids, but I want to be energetic. We want to have fun with it all, and that's what we talk about on the bottom. Is like, be energetic, have a lot of fun. That's what this is about, right? And a lot of times if we're yelling, it's probably because somebody's probably carrying a bat, swinging the bat around the wrong way, that's around people too much. But we always talk, the first thing we talk about before we break off in the groups, about the safety of camp. Like, hey, listen, you're carrying your bat, it's going to be at your side, and you're going to be walking with it. It doesn't go on your shoulder, and things like that. When you're playing catch, we're teaching kids how to play catch properly too while we're there, feeling the, catch hands, moving your hands right, being good partners and things like that. So we're doing all that kind of stuff there with things too. And, and that was kind of the biggest thing I want to do, is you want to give kids more opportunities to do things and get them excited about the game. And, when they're all doing their winter sports and things like that, a lot of kids probably still want to do baseball, right? So this is another opportunity to do that. And we do it right after the Christmas holiday. I try to do it the day after Christmas holiday, and, let them go burn out their energy at a baseball camp, and things like that. So that's what I kind of do. So that's what we do with our baseball camps.
Well, I got to tell you, I think it's fantastic. And, it's something that we try to do here. Just it's tough. I'll do a skills and drills clinic. I usually do it in the fall sometime. And we get a decent turnout. But it's not nothing like what you're getting, around 100 kids. We're getting maybe 30, maybe 25. But I think that the more we keep doing it and the more people see what we're doing, that eventually it'll grow into something like that. Because, again, I think what you do is so important. You have to do it.
Yeah. Also with youth baseball, I know we talked about it a little earlier, is like, last summer, my kid was 7, right? And I was like, what are we doing with them over the summer? Now baseball's over. It's like June 1st, school's out. There's no baseball. He wasn't good enough to make any travel teams yet. He just wanted to keep playing baseball. So we kind of started running a little bit of a, 8U machine pitch tournaments last year, just kind of out of the blue. Let's see how it works out. And we got a ton of teams last year. I think we had 4 or 5, sometimes 6 teams. I think we did it like 3 in 2024. This year we did 6. And, we had some kids that were able to play in all 6 tournaments. We had some kids that played in 3. I just wanted a commitment of 3 tournaments. Hey, it makes it a lot easier. And we just played baseball all summer, and we focused a lot on the developmental side of baseball. And that's what it was about. I think we had 33 kids this summer. I think last year we had right around 28 to 30 that played. We split up into 2 teams every weekend. We had a gold and a maroon team, and we let them play all summer long. They played good baseball. They didn't win a lot of games because they were playing a lot of teams that were established a lot of times, that played together all the time. We had a lot of higher, a lot of 8-year-olds where we played with the 7 and 8-year-olds, but their development throughout from June, from they started until mid-July or mid-August, when they were done, is unbelievable. Hitting cutoff men, third baseman, fielding a ground ball to runner at first and throwing to second base, getting the lead runner, or even fielding the ball and tagging third base instead of trying to tag the runner running over there. Just all the little things that we went over. A lot of kids thought playing in the outfield was a punishment because they didn't get a lot of balls in the outfield, and all of a sudden they want to play the outfield. They're doing a great job. They're going after balls or throwing in, hit the cutoff man. It was like, yes, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
As much as I want to win, with that kind of stuff, like I want to win, right? But this stuff, what they did over the summer, like they all won every game because they did the right things. And that's what we focused on, was doing the right things. They competed against really good teams at times. Sometimes they didn't do very well, but they competed their butts off every game.
Yeah.
And, it was, obviously, with the being machine pitch, it's more catered towards, the offensive side, keeping offensive and keeping things moving. And, they made a lot of really good plays. Fielding a ground ball at shortstop and throwing across the field, first base and catching a baseball at that age it's phenomenal. Last year I think they lost every game by probably the mercy rule. This year they were competing without that. They were catching balls at first base. They were making plays in the middle infield. They were getting the balls in from the outfield and hitting cutoff man. It was awesome. And it turned into something a lot more than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to see these kids grow. And hey, we want to do it again next summer already. So now some of the kids are up to be like 8 and 9 or 9 years old now, so they're out of that. So now we got to figure out turning into a 9/10U team next year to keep playing baseball. 'Cause that's where the tournaments are gonna be, almost 10U more than 9U. So
Right.
got to get them competing in the bigger boys next summer. So it's going to be a fun little thing to do with these kids. All the parents, I just want to thank them again for doing everything all summer, putting up with me all summer. I didn't do a lot of the coaching this summer besides practices. A lot of guys that volunteered to help me out. All the parents volunteered to help out with things just because I was there, just making sure the tournaments were running smooth and things like that. But I just want to thank all the parents and the volunteers that helped out, that stuck along with it, because it was a cool ride. I mean, these parents turned into a group of people that stayed together, all day long. Instead of leaving, they stayed all day long and did things. So it was awesome to see that they all came together that way. And I would never imagine that at all. It would turn into something like that. Like I said, I don't want to make it travel baseball. I want to make it developmental summer baseball. Like, we want to develop, I think, and the more you develop, the more you keep doing, they're going to win because they're developing the right skills.
Right.
And that's what we want to do. That's how they win the right way.
Yeah.
We don't want to just keep bringing everybody in to win. Like, we don't want to bring in like transfer portal 8-year-old kids, right? There's all those kids that, hey, the pickup portal this weekend. Let's see if we can. No, we don't want to do that. We want to bring in the right kids that want to play and learn and grow together and develop together. And we're doing that. And some kids made their all-star teams for their rec leagues, and they play when they were done. And I wanted them to do that. Like, listen, as soon as you're done with your rec ball stuff and you won and you're done with your tournament teams, you can come play if you want to. And we did that.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see, kids just playing baseball.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do. And, in the summer opportunities, I thought for that age group, there wasn't a lot yet. And that's why I kind of did what I did. And I think it turned out to be something pretty cool. So, and a lot of local leagues that played with our programs, that played with us, like played in our tournaments, we kind of became friends with them because they're like, they love what you're doing. And they keep coming to our tournaments over and over again. We get the same teams that come back every year because they enjoyed it. And, it's a really good experience for teams that come up.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's great. And the thing that came to mind when you were talking about winning and saying that, you're not actually winning the game that much. Okay. So it all depends on what your definition of winning is, right? Because from what you just explained to me, you're winning every single day. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, outfielder hits cutoff. That's a win. Third baseman throws the ball across, gets the runner at second base and knows what to do. That's a win. Those are all wins. And
even calling a fly ball, that's a win in my book, because they still all want to go together. And hear somebody call it, even if they drop it or they all miss it, somebody's still trying to take charge, right? And I think that was one of the coolest things, was being able to see these kids turn that way this summer and do that kind of stuff. And I mean, I didn't care what the scoreboard said.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I mean, I wish we were on the winning side a lot more. Don't get me wrong when it comes to the numbers on the scoreboard. However, these kids won in development and skills. I mean, I can't wait to see what they do now in fall baseball for rec league. I think we're going to see these kids that played all summer. I can't wait to see how awesome they're going to be. And I get to see a lot of them this fall because of my kids still playing in the fall rec league, in their local little league. So I'm really, really excited to see them at skill levels.
Now, you had mentioned earlier about your son, and you said that, he's too young to start playing travel ball yet, or something like that.
Last year he was only 7, so there
Right.
wasn't much option. That's why we kind of did this, kind of like glorified rec summer ball, in my opinion. We just want kids that wanted to play baseball. I never turn anybody away from skill level. I want to develop them, and that's what we did. And I think some of those kids. That's why I did what I did, though. It's like I want kids to play baseball.
Yeah.
And that's what we started. And I don't know what, I can't really answer the question of what's too young to play travel baseball.
That's where I was going.
However, in my opinion, I think travel baseball is for the right family. I think it's, if families think it's great to do it, then do it.
Right.
I want kids to play baseball. If I can see my son play with all his friends over the summer and put teams together from his friends from his community that didn't make the all-star team in their community rec league, then let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And if my kid makes the all-star team one day in his community, awesome. If not, so be it.
Right.
There's always we'll find opportunities to play because I think we have enough families that enjoy playing what we did this summer. I think we're to be able to build and keep growing and letting them play over the summer at a lower cost.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. I want to keep it as cheap as possible for players to play baseball over the summer. I think we played 34 games over the summer, and it starting from June and ending in mid August. And I don't think we burned out any kid at all. I mean,
Right.
I think that kids got tired a little bit because it got hot out some days. But I don't think they got burned out from baseball. 'Cause we had a lot of fun doing it. Our practices were awesome. The kids love coming to practices, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to keep doing. It's just there's a time and place. I think that travel ball will be appropriate for me and my family for our kid to do that.
Yeah.
I just don't
Yeah,
think
but
I think it's the time yet.
See, but I look at it this way. I mean, you're a college coach, so you have the knowledge, you have the education to know when it's right. I believe that travel ball, especially at the younger ages, because as well as I do, it starts at 6 now. They have 6-year-old travel teams, which I don't know what you're doing with them, but anyway. It's not a matter of what's best for the kid. It's a matter of keeping up with the Joneses. So if your neighbor is playing on a travel team, well, my kid's got to play on a travel team. Well, like I said, in your case, you understand that there'll be a time when your son will play travel ball, and you'll know when it is. But again, the sad part is that, you know why you're making your decisions. You know what it's about. Most people don't, and it's a shame. It really is, because I think what you just explained, if there was more of that, then I think the baseball world would be a lot better off than it is. And just to give you a case in point is my fall program. It was funny because we're just getting ready to kick that off in the next couple of weeks. And it's 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders. And people would reach out to me and say, when are tryouts? And I'm like, there's no tryouts. And they're like, because every other type of baseball league in the fall, you have to try out for. I said, no. I said, anybody who wants to play, come and play. Come on, we're going to teach you how to play the game.
That's kind of my thing is I want everybody to play. I don't care skill level, come play. We'll teach you. We'll teach you, right? Like I said, where I live in Berks County area, we have a lot of really good travel baseball teams. There's probably about 4 or 5 of them around the area, and they're all really good. Could I see my son eventually wanting to play for one of them because his friends are going over there? Absolutely. But I just think it has to be the right time for him to be ready for that too.
Yeah.
And it's a ready factor. I think it's a maturity thing for him to be, to understand the game a lot more and understanding the game in the right way.
Right.
And not just about, just being able to play. Like I hate the drip. I hate it. I hate all that kind of stuff.
You and me both.
But you know what? The kids have fun with it, right? The kids have fun with it, and baseball's supposed to be fun. We want to keep it fun. My kid wears all the colors and all those kind of things, and I can't stand looking at it, but it's okay. I mean, I will never say no for kids that want to do that. Just for my sake, I could be a plain black and white colored guy, and I'm okay with wearing black and white. I mean, I like the ugliest color shoes I can find sometimes. I like bright colored shoes because I like bright color shoes because they're just different. I like being different when it comes to shoes. I like the Grateful Dead, so I like tie-dye stuff. So if it reminds me of tie-dye, I try to get it. That's just me. But the drippage of everything is, it's a lot of it. I get it. I think it's fun. My kid has it, and then watching the Little League World Series now, they all have it. So everybody else wants it, and I think, what one thing that actually is cool about some of the drip that they have out. I think these plate crates. I don't know if you see the ads for the plate crates. I think they're awesome.
Oh.
It's like a box they get every month. It's a subscription box. They get like a training tool. They get like a cool different T-shirt, and it's a different theme. And my kid has gotten a couple of them. I think he got a fire one. It was a summer one. It was like a circus one. It was a whole bunch of different, and they have like some really cool things in there. He got like a tea popper. He got like weighted balls, which he's not going to use yet, but he got weighted balls in there. like a reaction ball in there, little foam ball, and I think it's just kind of cool for kids to have that. I mean, they're a little pricey, but they're really cool.
Yeah.
Like it's a cool little thing. Like I mean, the baseball lifestyle stuff I think is pretty cool. Like I mean, our last tournament for the AU, the coaches decided to wear all those crayon shorts. One of our coaches decided, let's do crayon shorts for the last. So I got stuck wearing crayon shorts, and like I kind of like it. And I didn't want to say I did, but I kind of liked it.
Right.
It was kind of cool to do that because it was fun for the kids to see all us do that. Right. That's what it's about. So, but yeah, one of the parents kind of organized that, so it was pretty cool to do.
Yeah,
But
see, stuff like
I
that is
think
cool.
it's just you got to have fun. You got to also have fun with it. Like I said, it may annoy some of us old school mentality, but it is fun.
I was going to say, you can imagine me. I don't like it at all, okay? But I'm trying. I'll tell you, Ron, I really am. I'm trying to find, because I know that everything that you just said is so true, okay? But man, oh man, you start putting war paint on your face and you start, this, that, and the arm sleeves and the oven mitts. But you know what gets me, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm older, I don't know. But if you were batting 600, okay, and constantly hitting balls in the gap, and you were on the mound and you were shutting everybody down, and you want to be a little drippy, okay, you could do it. What kills me is that you got a guy that's batting, like 080, okay, and can't do anything right, and he's got all of this, the $600 bat and the glasses on. What are we doing? Is this a fashion show, or are we trying to play baseball? You know what I mean? So
I think that's what we want to see, though. That's what everybody wants to be like, and that's kind of like the new way. I think, you know what I mean. And I'm okay with it. I think that's what they're, but turn into that personality. Don't just do it for baseball. Make it into your personality.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying. I'm trying.
I do with the colorful shoes. I do. I'm not gonna lie. I like, I had those Bryce Harper turfs that were all colorful.
Yeah,
and I like them. But I mean,
that wouldn't bother me. But there's a lot of things, like I said, especially when you put your glasses on the brim of your hat. That drives me completely bananas.
And my 8-year-old son decided he put Q-tips in the with his eye black because he wanted me to draw the little hearts, in his eye black because what he saw on the shorts videos of the Savannah bananas and things like that, which is whatever. I mean, all the kids came up with the smiley face this summer, the hearts, the colors. Hey, if they want to do that, it's fine. But I just like black on straight, please.
Yes. Oh God.
But that's okay. I mean, I'm getting used to it because I'm getting around the younger kids a lot, so I'm trying to like deep breath, like don't get mad about it. The only thing that gets me mad though, I can still tell you, the kids wear their hats backwards. I'm still young, but I can't stand that. Don't come with a backwards hat. That's like my pet peeve.
Yeah, that'll actually get a reaction out of me.
The backwards hat thing. No.
Yeah. That ain't happening. So
like I said, it was a great group of parents that we had this summer do this stuff with us, and it turned into something cool. So I'm pretty happy to see that happen. And they all kind of bought into the colors and the eye black and all that kind of stuff. So it was good to see that.
And it always comes down to that, because that's the part that I love about like what you're doing. Like you said, all of the parents came together, the kids came together. It's in your community. This is a community thing, okay? It's not, everybody leaving to go drive 4 or 5 hours away and splitting up and going on their own. It's staying together in the community. I love that.
Yeah, like I said, I hate taking any kind of credit for it. I just kind of organize it. I don't like being in the forefront of anything. I kind of like staying in the back door. I like the thank yous when they say thank you, but I don't really ask for it. I just do it because that's who I am. Yeah. I do it for the kids. I think, if we're starting this for the kids, it's going to follow along, and we're going to have a good thing going for a good safe place for kids to go over the summer too. Like, hey, it's okay to drop your kid off and leave and see you in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
To 2 hours. Right. And I want parents to feel that way. Like, come give yourself a break, and we'll see you in 2 hours. We'll call you if something would happen, if we needed you, but see you later. Yeah. Well, we did events over the summer too. We did an event at the Reading Fighting Phils, the AA for the Phillies team this summer. We took them all out to Reading Phillies game around 4th of July and did the firework night. I mean, they were on the field with the players before the game. I set it up for them. I can tell you right now, that was probably one of the highlights to see my kid be able to go on the field with a player, but not just him, but seeing all the other kids go and do that too. Like, I it was so cool to see, like, I think it was like 24 of them that were there go on the field with a double A Reading Phillies player, stand with them for the national anthem, and you could just see the glow in their smiles on their
Sure.
faces. And I think we end up buying like 60 or 70 tickets with parents and friends and everything that came along. We all sat together and we stayed there from that beginning of the game until the fireworks were over. People were there, and it was like not many people left, and it was awesome to see people stay together like that.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And that's what we do. It was for those kids. We did that for the kids. It wasn't about me setting up. I want to do something special for the kids.
Yeah. Like I said,
That
you're
was
doing
awesome.
it. You're doing it for all the right reasons, because I believe that people that are not doing it for the right reasons don't last very long. Okay, and obviously, you've been around for a while, so you're doing something right. And like I said, it's
Well,
yeah.
thank you. I appreciate it.
No, I mean, it's the truth. You're doing the right thing, working with the kids. Forget about. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the accomplishments that you have as a college coach is, that's a big enough accomplishment. Okay, but then to take what you're doing and be able to give back to the younger kids and help develop the kids, man, oh man, is that so important.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, just seeing the development from June to August. That was great to see. And it wasn't like I said, it was about getting these kids to learn the game and love the game. And I think
Yeah.
we had that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was their first situation. A lot of these kids too that played, I mean, it was their first real opportunity as the first strikeout. The first, 3 strikes you're out type deal for
Yeah.
some of the kids. And how are you going to react, right? And I think the group of volunteer coaches that we had along with the parents and stuff, like did a great job with supporting those kids that struggle with that stuff. You know what I mean? And might have been a little cry at times with some tears, but they were up right away. Their head came right back up, and we seen kids that struck out and they ran off the field. They ran from the batter's box to the dugout.
Isn't that great?
That to me, that's awesome.
That's
Like,
great.
they weren't frustrated, and a lot of the things about it is they didn't take it into the field with them a lot of times, and which was really cool to see that. So that to me is a learning curve for a lot of kids, and so I think it's going to help them for long term.
Yeah, I
on
mean,
the way.
and that's because they have somebody there, somebody like you that's there, that's teaching them that it's okay to strike out. It's, all of these things are going to happen. You got to put it behind you and, hey, let's get on to the next pitch. That's, they need somebody to teach them that. You don't want to paralyze the kid by having him
Nope.
go up to the plate thinking, I can't strike out. Coach is going to be mad at me. If you do that, then the kid is not going to be successful. Everything has to be positive. You got to, like I said, they're lucky to have you there.
Well, thank you.
So let's jump into a little bit about your style and your philosophy as a coach. Okay, so give us an idea of that.
So, if we're talking about the youth level, it's all about creating a fun environment and keeping kids positive and learning that way. Turn the switch on when it comes to the college portion of things. Like, you get a little more intense with players and stuff like do the right things, getting on them about, taking their reps properly, because got to take your every rep's important, whether it's, in the bullpen, whether it's a ground ball, or it's a foul ball, going a foul ball in a game, getting that free rep and throwing it across the field, right? Every rep's important. And to me, like, take advantage of every rep you can get. Don't miss one, right? And that's kind of what I want to see. I think Yogi Lutz, the head coach at Alvernia, would probably say one of the most positive guys are going to be around when it comes to certain things. And and when it comes to that portion of him saying that, I kind of offset the other coaches that we have there with certain things. Like, we all have to work together as a whole coaching staff. But I try to be the positive one when it comes to certain things. Like, maybe something didn't go your way. I want to try to make it into a positive out of what happened there, right? And that's just kind of I feel as my role as an assistant coach, compared to being a head coach. My role as an assistant coach is you want to do something to always help the head coach in a way, make the head coach's job easier, and that's kind of how I spin myself a little bit is, let's just take a positive side of the negatives and turn them into positives and be Mr. Positive, and that's kind of what I like to do with a lot of certain things like that. But I can be mean, I can be aggressive at times too. I can get loud. Do I like to anymore? Not so much. 'Cause there's a time and a place to do that when it comes to certain things. But I think a lot of it comes from, just building the trust and within the players that you have there to trust and believe in what you're doing. And I think that's what I want to do, is just make them trust and believe in what we're doing. And I think that's one thing I want to do. And you know there's a lot of guys on the college team, and there's certain ones that are come to you more than the other guys do. And I just want to make them know that my phone can be on anytime if you need something to talk about. But that's kind of who I am. So
Yeah, I mean,
my philosophy is a little different as a head coach from an assistant coach.
yeah,
I'm probably gonna be more of the aggressor as a head coach. As assistant coach, I want to offset what our head coach is doing to make sure that we are working together in a positive manner to make sure we have the best staff around to help with that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And I mean, again, having assistant coaches that understand that their role is to help the head coach, and again, like you said, make it easier for the head coach is, that's so important. And I don't think that gets recognized enough, how important assistant coaches are. The head coach always gets all of the accolades and this and that, but you know what, I mean, I know me, I'm nothing without my assistant coaches. It just, I'm not. I can't do it all. And you need guys that understand, like what you just said. They need to understand that. Well, let me back up on that a little bit. I'm sure that, like what you just explained about your coaching philosophy and style, is right in lockstep with your head coach. Am I wrong?
I mean, it is. I think we offset each other very well with what we do. You know what I mean? I think we both. I mean, I just kind of I learned a lot from him my first year there with what he does. I had to learn how he runs his program. I just kind of offset with the positivity when it comes to certain things. But yes, I have the kind of same philosophy he wants to do there. I use his philosophy. I just take it my own way when it comes to what I do with our positions and things like that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I just want to make his job easier, and that's my goal.
Yeah.
And he's been there for a long time, right? He knows how to run a program. I would never doubt how he runs a program. I had to learn how he ran his program, and what I wanted to do with learning how to run his program is I got to be able to make sure what he's doing, and I can make it myself available to help him in any way that I can to make it a better program with me being there.
Yeah.
And that's my goal, is make it better for me being there. For whatever he needs done, I'm going to help him as much as I can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my job, make his job easier any way I can, So
Yeah.
it's been a great experience for me. I mean, being on staff over there has been one of the best things for me and my family, being local, right there. I can't thank him enough for letting me come on board a couple of years ago when he asked me to come back in the college game and be a part of it. And for me, it's been a life-changing experience for me mentally as a baseball coach, because, there's times you just want to, I'm done. But this is kind of this kind of changed the way that I look at the game again a lot more over the last couple of years.
Well, I think that somebody like you, you said, it's funny the way you just said that. You're thinking that, well, I'm done. I don't think that you'll ever be done. I think it's in you. I really believe that it's in you, and you'll coach baseball, until you're an old man like me, but you'll keep going. You're not going to walk away. You may walk away for a year or two, but it's always going to pull you back in.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I said I was done, I think I was kind of done, really trying to be somebody that I not be somebody, but try to do something that I wasn't going to be able to do with baseball anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we're always chasing it, right? But I got to put my family first. You know,
Well,
I have a wonderful wife, lovely, beautiful wife at home with 3 kids. You know, I got to be able to support them and still do the love of baseball, right? I got my full-time job, and I get to coach baseball on the side as my mental health kind of, yeah, that's my mental health kicker, right?
yeah,
But in reality, that's the thing. It's like you got to be able and having their support and seeing how they love the game and love to come over to games and support it all and things like that. That's the most important thing for me is being they support what I do. Um, they support being local, being only 8 minutes away from campus compared to an hour when I was before. So
well,
that's important to me.
here's the thing, and I think it's important to say this, is that everything will happen in due time. In other words, if you keep doing what you know is right, and I guess what I'm trying to say is I can talk about my journey. Okay, if you would have asked me, I'm trying to think, maybe like 15 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer, if I would have ever been a high school coach, and I was asked that question, I was like, no way, I'll never be a high school coach. Never happened. I was coaching, youth baseball at the time. And I said, it never happened. Nobody's going to want me as a coach. And here we are, 15 years later. I never pushed for it. I never even set a goal to say that eventually someday I want to be a high school coach. Forget about running my own program. Never even entered my mind. It kind of just happened. So what I'm saying is that in time, you don't know what's down the road. You don't know what's coming for Ron Schaeffer. You have no idea. And if you just keep doing what you know is right, eventually, I promise you, good things will happen.
Well, thank you. I mean, like I said, I'm happy where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm really happy.
I
where
always
I'm
was
at.
too.
The support cast that we have, at Alvernia, I enjoy being around them. It's great to be over there. You're respected, you're wanted, and that's the most important thing.
Sure.
Like I feel like I belong there.
Yeah.
It's the same with being a part of the youth committee. I was very nervous the first time I went to the youth summit and started meeting people. I was like, what am I doing here? And then you realize that you have a purpose there and you feel wanted there. And then going to year 2 and then being able to be on the youth committee now, not just go to the youth summit. That's awesome. Trying to promote the ABCA to people because it brings us together in different ways, right? And I mean, if we never went to that youth summit a couple years ago in Kansas City, we never linked up. We talk every day. We don't talk every day, but every once in a while, it's always good to check up on Jimmy or we check up on each other. And we're both busy people. We get it, but it's like we never missed a beat when we do talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we do with these kind of things. And that's what this baseball world is crazy though. Is me and you, we hit it off when we first met.
Yeah.
And then we've been baseball talking since.
But if you think about it, okay, and this is what's, I guess, a little strange about it, okay? So you were no different than me. When we went to Kansas City, I didn't know anybody. I knew no one. I mean, I had talked to a few of the people that were there once or twice, not much. I didn't know anyone. So I kind of, had my reservations, all right? And think about it, right? In, 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. In 3 short years, how many of us have become friends where, we, like you said, you and I talk, randomly every now and then, hey, how are you? What's going on? We talk. I was just
but we check in on each other. We check in on each other because we're friends. Like how's Jimmy doing? I have to check in with him. I was thinking about him the other day, and you do the same with me.
Exactly.
Like, I haven't heard from you. Like, I mean, it's something like we do it on purpose, but it's one of those things where like I want to check in with Jimmy, and forgot to, but we always find a way to always connect, and and I do that with a lot of people that we meet, but you're right though, it brought us together.
Yeah.
And like I said, we were colleagues there, and now I can call you a friend.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. Last week, the week before, Paul and Jeff were in Japan. They went there with Pudge, the coach.
I saw that.
Yeah, right.
That's
You saw
awesome.
it, right? I'm texted with Paul in, I don't know, he was in, I don't know where the hell he was, Japan. And,
Yeah.
we've developed these relationships because we're all like-minded people. Believe it or not, I feel like I'm friendlier with you guys and the people that I've met through USA Baseball and other people that I've met through I'm more friendly with you people than I am with people that I know around me.
Yeah.
Because we all have a common purpose, a common, baseball brings us together.
Yeah, I do think that baseball brings a lot of people together. I mean, I think just some of the guys that helped me over the summer, we became like really good friends throughout the summer now, and like we're always like talking, funny group texts now going around with stupid memes just to have fun once in a while, and it's all about being serious. But it's awesome,
Yeah,
to see that kind of stuff and things like that. But I guess me and you have to go to one of these trips with Pudge soon, don't we?
I know. I know. Well, Caliendo asked me to go to Italy next year to coach a team there, so
there you go.
I might do that. That'll be interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, these are things that baseball has done for us, for all of us. So. But before we go, because we're running out of time, I got to get one more thing from you, and this is the most important one. Okay, so being a college coach, what advice would you give to youth and high school players about getting recruited into a college program?
You never know who's watching.
Yeah.
I've seen. I mean, I can just go to watch infield, outfield, and be like, yeah, I want to leave this game already.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, yeah, what am I doing here? Watching infield, outfield. So you never know who's watching. Go out there and sprint on and off the field, hit the ball on the ground and bust in the line. Show it off. Go out there and be a leader, be vocal. Things like that. But I mean, in my opinion, you never know who's watching. I never thought I was a very good player coming out of high school. I worked hard. I kind of busted my tail a little bit, and I kind of had that philosophy of like, you never know who's watching, and hopefully somebody watched me, and I had an opportunity to play 4 years of college baseball. Because I never know who was watching me play, and that kind of helped me out a little bit and got me into the game of the college game after I got done playing and stuff. So yeah, but I mean, in reality, you never know who's watching. Weight room's very important too. Don't lack in the weight room. I think the physicality of players nowadays have changed over time. So don't miss those reps either in the weight room. If you get a chance to get in the weight room and learning how to lift properly, doing those kind of things, do it.
Yeah.
Work on your speed, work on your agility.
Yeah.
Do all those things that people don't see you do behind the scenes. Go put the extra work in. Wake up an hour and a half before you normally wake up to go do a workout somewhere or go for a run, do something. Find a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the work that you put in when nobody's watching, and you never know who's watching.
Yeah. And one more quick question. So I'm a high school junior, and I really want to go to Alvernia University to play baseball. So I want to send Coach Schaeffer an email. Okay. What does that email look like?
I mean, I want to see an introduction of the player. I want to see, why Alvernia too. Like, do we have your major? Or you just email me because you want to email me? But make sure the academics are a good fit too. GPA, your SAT. I want to see what that kind of stuff is. Fill out our prospect questionnaire online, and stuff like that. If we're posting our prospect camps, which I do on our Twitter, and we on my personal Twitter, which is at Coach Boo Boo. We always tag in the Vern Baseball Twitter also. We inquire about our prospect camps. We probably do one in the summer. We do one in the winter. Come visit.
Yeah.
Especially visiting campus too. Is it close enough for you want to go to? Do you have a radius of where you want to? But come visit school. Come see if it's a good fit for you too. Come to a camp to see if it's a good fit. Come see a practice, come see a game to see if it's a place that you feel you can be at.
Yeah.
I
What
just
about
don't want people, come here just to come here. We want to make sure it's a good fit for you academically, you know, for your 4 years of college or longer than 4 years, with our academic programs that we offer.
what about video? What do you look for? If somebody wanted to send you a video.
I hate music and videos. I'm not gonna lie. I put them on mute, but I don't want to put it on mute because I want to hear the crack of the bat sometimes when they're playing. I want to see. I hate hearing the chitty chatter in the videos. Unfortunately, you can't put that away. But I mean, when I'm seeing a video of a catcher, hearing them frame, in game. I want to hear the pop of the glove. I want to be able to see the swing and hear the crack of the bat properly. I want to be able to see that kind of stuff. But I want to see. I actually want to see some failures in videos too, like
Interesting.
swing and misses and things like that. You're human. You're not batting 1,000 ever, right? So I mean, I want to see. I mean, when I see a game and I see kids that I like, I mean, I want to see their reaction when they fail too, right? I mean, that's just me personally. Like if they're gonna act, throw stuff, act up, and they
Sure.
want to come, I want to talk to them about it. And if they listen and they don't do it again, they do it on a third time, they don't do it a fourth time, maybe they listen and learn.
Yeah.
But they also have to learn too. But yeah, I mean, I hate music and videos. I'm not gonna lie. That's just my personality thing. Especially sometimes music isn't appropriate for a recruiting video.
Yeah.
But just put in some instrumental stuff like light in the background if you want to put music in. But I want to see what you can do. I want to see the good, the bad, and the ugly too. But I want to see you show off a little bit in your video to make me want to come see you, for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I tell my high school players no music, just so you said, do not put music. They don't want to hear it.
yeah,
So
100%. And one of the things too about that is like, I always tell people like, if you're want to be recruited and things like that, like reach out, to every school you're interested in, but make sure they have the academic major you want to go to, and stuff like that. And I also tell people like, make a profile of your Twitter profile or your X, or the X now, of just for your baseball purposes. If you want to have one person, make a personal one.
sure.
Make one just for baseball. Make one just for baseball. Put all your recruiting stuff on there. Start tagging as many people as you want to see your video.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, because it's not going to hurt. But take your personal stuff away from it, because I mean, I would. There's some times where I see people put stuff on there. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So make a baseball one for your recruiting profile, and we'll figure out the rest later.
Yeah. Well, Ron, I know it took a while for us to get together, but I'm telling you, I'm glad that we finally did it. I think this was a great conversation, and I know my listeners got a lot out of what we just spoke about. So I want to thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. I know we've been talking about it for the last 3 years since we first met.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a long time coming, but appreciate you finally getting the opportunity to connect with you and talk about this stuff. Like I said, it's not just about, the game of baseball, but it's about how we're growing in the game of baseball together, right?
Exactly.
I think we bounced stuff off each other before, and being able to do like this 8U stuff over the summer has been awesome for me, learning from different people and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm looking forward to Austin in November and, to reconnect, see you there.
Good.
And this was great.
Sounds good. Well, thank you very much for having me. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks, Ron. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
That was Ron Boo Boo Schaeffer, assistant coach at Alvernia University. One of the things that impresses me with Ron is, even though he's a college coach, he still understands the importance of training youth athletes. He understands how important developing young athletes really is. I mean, college coach, he could walk away from young kids, but he chooses to have camps. He chooses to work with young guys. You even heard him talking about coach pitch tournaments that, are things that he's trying to do to try and help players be the best that they could be. So, you got to tip your hat to Ron, and, there's a reason why guys like him and all of the other guys that are part of the ABCA Youth Committee and, the youth baseball summit that we all attend. There's a reason why we're all there, because we understand the importance of getting them while they're young and teaching them the rudiments of the game so that they could be the best that they can be when it really matters. Because we know that, when they're 10, 11, 12, all of that stuff that goes on with the tournaments and the travel teams and all of this stuff, it doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with anything. What matters is, can you get the job done when the time comes where you really need to get the job done? In other words, in your high school days, okay, so, sophomores, juniors especially, that's when you need to be on top of your game. But if you don't do all of the stuff beforehand, all of the stuff that we all know you need to do to become a better baseball player, like I said, the rudiments, the paths we take to the ball, the way we run the bases, our approach at the plate, working with young kids and again, I've said it a million times, working with young kids to get their mental performance where it should be. Get them thinking right. What is their approach? What were you thinking on that play? Are you prepared? Are you getting ready for the next pitch? There's so many things, and I know that Ron understands all of this stuff, and that's why he works with the young guys, because maybe those young guys that he's working with, they may become really good college players and benefit him in the years to come. So, if you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Visit the website at thectbshow.net. Listen to your favorite episodes and please leave us a review. You can also reach out to the show on social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and get this, the old man has finally got us on TikTok. Keeps me young. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover, please drop us an email at clearingthebases@gmail.com. Your feedback helps us bring you the best content and reach more people in the baseball community just like you. And also, let me know if you'd like to be a guest. Until then, coaches and players, keep practicing, stay positive, and remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.